were
It's not
born.
his fault, though. That's
I
the
don't see
problem.
you turning against us. Not now or ever.
What's up, guys? Your King Vincent Valentine EX Turk, and you know why the clips that you see right in the beginning were there? I'm talking about the ones after my intro. This is what we're gonna be elaborating and talking about. Episode Prompto. Sorry, I want to flip my hair this way now. So it's cool about my hairstyle, but I'm doing it for the video. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I just watched Final Fantasy Union's video about episode Prompto and why this is going to be a more tragic and darker episode than Gladiolus was, or darker than the whole game was. As you see in the clip, you know, Prompto is born in Niflheim by Father Versteel, the high scientist of Niflheim. So he didn't grow up in Lucis, which would explain why in Brotherhood, why Prompto, you know, was overweight, because, well, he was eating comfort food because he probably secretly knows all this messed up stuff. Because he did say that, that this is something you don't tell people in Lucis, because Niflheim and Insomnia, which is pretty much the location where most of Brotherhood happened, at least the flashbacks. It's just something you don't tell people in Insomnia because, well, Niflheim are enemies with Insomnia all this time. But that's besides the point. There's also a point that Final Fantasy Union actually pointed out that I never thought until now. You know when when you're chasing Arden after Arden was, you know, stopping time, it was not Arden, it was Prompto. That's why Prompto asked, "Did you miss me?" And then if you pick who ever picked the option no, he will ask, "Do you still think I'm Arden?" Because Prompto knows that Noctis is pissed at Arden, because this is Arden's fault. Everything that happened up to this point was Arden's fault. You know, from the beginning of the Final Fantasy 15 storyline lore to what happened to Noctis, everything was Arden's fault. In fact, Arden actually has believe it or not, has the power to switch places. Pretty much switch the places with appearance. That's why it's kind of peculiar. You see in the final battle, Arden uses his royal arms just like Noctis does. But it's peculiar when you see Arden. It's peculiar when you see Arden holding a gun, because he doesn't use guns. You know why? That's actually Prompto switched with Arden. That's why when Noctis went after Arden, Prompto fell off the train. Meaning that Arden has even worse powers than we thought. He could switch appearance places with somebody else. Pretty much, that's exactly how he was able to trick Ravis into thinking that he was Noctis. And, you know, and betrayed Ravis. But that's another time and another thing. But that's how he was able to do it. So this also makes the tragedy of Prompto even more tragic than we thought. And I just wanted to watch this video because I really want to know more about episode Prompto. So, again, I still have my fan theory that the person that Prompto points his gun at with a tear out of his eyes is actually either an armored form of his father, or his father transformed into a demon. Meaning it's going to be a hard decision to kill his father, Versteel, because Versteel's an evil bastard, okay? Versteel's crimes are just as bad as Arden. He surpasses the Emperor Idolus when it comes to evil crimes. Not just for making Magitech, but everything he put Prompto through, because Prompto thinks he's a traitor. And Prompto is not really a traitor at all. In fact, even Ignis says, "I don't see you betraying us at all." It doesn't, and Noctis is like, "Dude, why does it matter where you come from?" And it really doesn't. It doesn't really, because if you really think about it, Niflheim territory is expanded. Luna Freya, the woman that Noctis is supposed to marry, came from technically a property of Niflheim, because the Niflheim Empire took over Tenebrae. So, and I could see Noctis as a chill guy saying, you know, it don't matter. But Prompto would still feel bad, and that's why Prompto has to go on this journey. Just like in episode Gladiolus, where Gladiolus was going on a journey to get stronger because he got beat by the High Commander Ravensnox Fleury. I think this would be a journey for Prompto, so Prompto can get over the fact that he's actually from Niflheim, and that his father, Versteel, is actually a bad guy. And that's why I said this is going to be a real big tragedy. Now, it wasn't a big tragedy when Noctis found out that Arden's his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. That isn't much of a tragedy because, well, you know, he never knew this until his adult life. But Prompto somehow knows Versteel's his father. He knows. And that's why in chapter 13 you see him depressed and asking, do you miss me, and stuff like that. And you see he's not no more high-spirited or you know, all the spirit that he had before, where he was like, you know, pretty much a high-spirited, energetic guy. That dies off after this, during chapter 13. So this would have to be before chapter 13. So Prompto's going to be... This is why I think Prompto's the best character in Final Fantasy 15. You know, character-wise. Because he's going to even have more character development than Ravis did. Even more than Gladiolus. I know this sounds crazy, but I think the biggest character developed in Final Fantasy 15 would be Prompto. Because, you know, Prompto purposely being ignorant about where he comes from, being fun-loving and stuff like that, is for good reasons, because Prompto come from a messed up situation. It's like your father is pretty much the evil enemy of your best friends, as well as the fact that you come from that area, and as well as that you think your best friend's going after you because they think you're the enemy and not your friend, because Noctis did not know the power that Arden have, or Arden could actually switch appearance with anybody. Thus, Noctis was tricked into knocking Prompto over. And this is why I think it's possible. That's why I think it's possible for chapter 10. I mean, maybe not chapter 10, but yeah, no, it's chapter 10 because it was before Tenebrae. I think, yeah, it was before Tenebrae. So, chapter 10, Prompto goes on his own journey, and then probably ends up fighting his father, Versteel. Versteel tells him the truth that he hates and dreaded. So Prompto actually has a decision: kill his father and be just as rotten as he is, or spare him and spare him and stay the kind-hearted Prompto we all love and know. It's a very big dilemma because, well, I mean, Versteel's a piece of shit. I'm gonna say that he's just as bad as Arden. You know, he's just as bad as Arden. And I'll go on that a little bit later. You know, he's just as bad as Arden. And it could be possible that Arden and Versteel planned the events before. That's why there was one thumbnail that had Versteel and Arden, and it showed a much angry Prompto. Because Prompto has to make a choice. And this is very hard for anyone who has family problems. I understand if you're triggered, because it's not easy going through this mess. It's really not, you know. Family members can disappoint you in so many ways that it can be heartbreaking. Again, my cousins down in Des Moines, some of them, they're just, you know, they're going down a bad path. And, you know, that's why I said this game, Final Fantasy 15, is that exact parallel. It's about family. It's about Greek mythology and family. Because like I said, Luna Freya, pretty much the main character's love interest, her brother joins the bad guys, the Niflheim Empire, and then regrets and repents for his sins after she dies. And then you got Prompto, who was born to a really nasty, wicked, evil, idolous, Arden motherfucker. So, you know, it's really hard to take all this. And then, of course, Noctis knowing that Arden is pretty much his great, just so many greats, grandfather. So this really has something to do with family. At least this is what I interpreted. This episode's going to have more to do with family, because Prompto has to face his demons. He has to face up to the fact that, Noctis was mistaken, because Arden has the power to switch places with and appearances with people, and Prompto's gonna have to deal with the fact that his father is an evil bastard. He's going to have to deal with the fact that and of course they'd be that way, because like I said, I think Versteel is also a demon of the Star Scourge as well as Idolus. Remember, and Ravis was only half. But we're talking about episode Prompto. But you get the point. Everyone in Niflheim that isn't Aranea, Highwing, Caligo, or Loki are pretty much demons. So of course they're going to be pretty much evil. So pretty much, it could be possible that Versteel is the most evilest character in Final Fantasy 15. Just like, they kind of copy. Now I will complain they kind of copy and paste from Final Fantasy 7, because Professor Hojo was actually the true villain in Final Fantasy 7. And he was an evil scientist that was one of the, except in this case, main villain's father. As in this game, the father is the father. He's the father of Versteel's the father of the main character, one of the main brothers characters in Final Fantasy 15. So this is gonna be the darkest episode ever. If you were a fan of Prompto, you're gonna be depressed. I guarantee you, you're gonna be depressed or lose your sanity or hate Versteel so much that pretty much he gets on the list of Trump, Hojo level. Like, we're going to be seeing a really dark emotional story. Now, I know there's too many dark and gritty stuff about Final Fantasy 15. But Final Fantasy 15 is still a dark game, even without the Versus 13 overtones. Because you got family members you have to fight. And that's the hardest thing to fight, is your family. It's the very hardest thing to have to go against your brother who's misguided. It's hard to go against an evil father, because he's still your daddy at the end of the day. Even though he's an evil SOB and, wants nothing to do with you. And in fact, you have a great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather who pretty much killed one of his great-great-great-great-grandsons, King Regis. So, that's what makes this game, I think, a little bit darker, because this only has not only Greek mythology stuff in overtones in it, this also has family overtones in it. And Prompto's mostly worried about him being a traitor because he comes from Niflheim. So let me know in the comments what you think below, right here, about episode Prompto. Are you hyped for it? Are you not? Do you know any other details that's going to happen in episode Prompto? Also, subscribe to Final Fantasy Union, because this article came originally from Final Fantasy Union, and I want to give credit to where credit's due, so people don't complain at me saying, "Oh, you don't give credit to your sources." So may the crystal be with you, and I'd go check out and subscribe to Final Fantasy Union. That's where I found this. May the crystal be with you.